Hey, Cancer, Intuitive Soul Coach here. Welcome back if you are returning, and welcome if you are new. I'm Mel, an intuitive reader, and I'm super grateful that you found me today. All right, Cancer, let's dive in and take a peek at what is unfolding for you over the next 3 months. I'm being shown the Chariot, which is your major arcana, Cancer, and it feels like there is motivation, movement, guidance, and direction coming through that is going to change or alter the course of your direction. Now, the Chariot represents emotional drive, the actions that we take based on how we feel. And because you have romance showing up here as one of your key themes, I see that you are romancing your life, falling in love with your life, and that is going to move you, inspire you to take action towards your goals, towards living your best life, towards connecting with others, taking care of your body, taking care of your health. And look what just flew out, the Chariot. There's confirmation here that you are about to level up. You may have outgrown a situation. I'm getting the Hanged Man here. So you may have even found yourself in a state of suspension. It's not in your reading. I'm seeing it in my mind's eye. But I see that you may have felt stuck, or your perspective may have shifted, changed, or altered in some way where you're starting to feel more motivated to move forward here. And there could even be an offer that comes through. You have the Messenger, which is a bonus major arcana in this deck, but you also have here the Ace of Truth, the Ace of Communication, the Ace of Swords. So I see that there is an invitation or an offer or a blessing lining up for you in the next 3 months that is going to get that Chariot back on the road after perhaps you felt like something was broken, just like a vehicle. Maybe you felt like you had a flat in an area of your life and you had to pause, you had to stop, and you had to fix that flat tire or call AAA, call someone to help you. And this is not literal. However, the Chariot can represent vehicles. So some of you could be in the market for a new or used vehicle, or if you are due for an oil change or there is a mechanical issue, please do get that addressed. We don't want to be stranded on the side of the road for long. But I do see here that, metaphorically speaking, you had found yourself needing to take inventory, take a look at a situation from a new angle instead of panic, or instead of let anxiety overrule, which it sometimes can, right? Sometimes we can go down the rabbit hole. We can self-diagnose. We can self-catastrophize events. Cancer, I've been there. I'm sure you've been there before, but I see that you're getting back on track here. You're feeling good about the choices and the direction you are headed. You have here the Lovers at the bottom of the deck. I am also getting a message here of love coming through that may be very important when it comes to family, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to making choices around the heart, because it's those choices that shift and alter our direction. And I read one time that the biggest way to cut through anxiety is to act upon a situation, right? To action it up. Because otherwise we do sit in that Hanged Man energy of suspension, waiting and going down that rabbit hole, and we feel stuck. We feel like there are no choices or too many, and we feel confused. The Lovers is connecting to the heart space on a level where you're able to trust, because trust can be severed, especially when we are not seeing the Chariot back on the road. When we are stuck on the side of the road, we really tend to doubt or question our path. And I see that you are moving into an energy where not only are you trusting in the path that's unfolding, you're not letting the setbacks make you bitter. And one of my favorite quotes is, you can become better or bitter, but the choice is yours. And I see that you are following your heart here. Even though you may have gone through some struggles, some setbacks, some situations that may have been a bit disappointing, you have the strength showing up here, which tells me everything I need to know about your energy. You are resilient, Cancer, and you will bounce back from anything that has shifted your energy where you felt stuck in some way. Now, moving into February, you have soul lessons, and soul lessons represents graduating from the school of hard knocks. You've gone through some sort of lesson, but you're graduating. You're moving forward. That's why the Chariot is so strong showing up in your energy. And you have the Knight of Wands and you have the Three of Cups. There is a celebration here. There could be career advancement for some of you after dealing with some individuals or working really, really hard to get where you want to go, but you feel like you were stuck in that process where you weren't receiving the accolades or the support or the improvements weren't being recognized. I see that you've learned a lot, and this is wisdom, because when we take our life lessons, our soul lessons, and we apply them to our world, right, that is wisdom. And you have a voice where many of you are teaching others a better way. You may even be a public speaker. Some of you may have a channel here on YouTube, or you're using your creative abilities to help be of service in some way. I'm also getting a message here of redecorating a home or updating or upgrading your living space, your living environment. Some of you could even be reorganizing, rearranging. I'm seeing new artistry or new wall decor, perhaps new furniture. Some of you may be upgrading some of your appliances, or you're in the market, as I mentioned, to maybe purchase a vehicle, or some of you are booking a trip and you could be getting really excited. Maybe it's that anticipation that has been building up with that Hanged Man, where you're not quite on that trip yet, or you haven't hit that peak yet, but it feels like finally, here it is. The Chariot, there's the momentum, there's the motivation. And the soul lessons is actually creating a stronger, more resilient version of you, which means if anything comes up down the road, which I see the strength showing up here in the month of April, you have the ability to not respond in a way that's going to become bitter, or not respond in a way where that Chariot comes to an abrupt halt and throws you completely off balance, where you feel like you're on the side of the road again. You have equipped yourself with some very powerful tools, and I want you to remember that. I see here the Knight of Wands, which is also an action taker. So the month of February, you may have a lot going on. Also connects to travel, momentum, meeting new people. Because I see the Lovers in your reading and romance, you may be meeting a partner who is an absolute soulmate, which we can have many, and it doesn't have to be romantic, but for some of you, it is. But I also see there may be some changes and adjustments when it comes to partnerships, which certainly could include romantic. Now, when it comes to your career, there is a victory win. And because the Three of Cups is here, you may even be celebrating with community, marketing, networking. This could even be some sort of win that comes through. I'm getting business trip. Some of you could be traveling for work, or there could be a write-off if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner. Or you could write off a part of this travel for some of you. And I'm also seeing here you being very motivated to take action because this excites you. So that is the dominant emotion that is flowing through the month of February. It feels like there's excitement because you're like, okay, I've learned, but now I am moving forward and I am celebrating this move. I mean, it could literally be a move. Some of you could be relocating or moving to a new community. There could be some sort of win here after, again, dealing with a delay or dealing with some sort of suspension. So February energy, victory, all right? Victory, advancement, growth, you're going to celebrate here. And in the month of March, you have romance. So this certainly can connect to love, marriage, unions, bonds, soulmates. But this is also about you romancing life, flirting with life, Cancer. You may be a flirt, but I feel like it is harmless. It feels like you are friendly. And yes, sometimes people may take that out of context, but I feel like your friendliness is who you are. You have a big, beautiful heart. And I see someone, it almost looks like you're hoarding a bunch of animals. Someone may love animals. Maybe you're working with animals or at an animal shelter. Some of you could have dogs and cats and maybe rabbits and a whole zoo in your home. And I see here with romance, this could be a very important month where some of you may even be getting engaged, or you may be having a conversation, getting to know someone. You have the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. So this is a reevaluating turning point when it comes to how you view love or how you view relationships or how you look at trust, because we have trust and passion also on the romance card. So I see that even if you have gone through lessons around betrayal, or if there has been a lack of trusting that you'll ever fall in love again, or trusting that you'll maybe make money doing something that you love, I see that you are exiting out of or cutting through with the Ace of Swords those self-catastrophizing thoughts that we were talking about earlier. Because the Eight of Swords is here, which can be a feeling of helplessness or a feeling of the mind, the mental mind spiraling. But I see that you are telling a new story here. You're cutting through the fluff with that Ace of Swords. And the truth is that you are capable. You are lovable. You have the ability to set clear boundaries. You have the ability to attract a new partnership. You have the ability to romance your life and to have fun. And I do see here with the Seven of Pentacles, there is a redirect coming in where something has become a bit stagnant in your life, maybe around the love category or area. And in March, when we shift into the astrological New Year's, right, Aries season, it's like that fire in your belly returns. And there's two beautiful cats here I'm just now noticing, and even a cow in the background. Do some of you live on a farm, or maybe you have a small hobby farm, or two beautiful white cats? I see here that you are someone who is very nurturing. You may be someone who loves to garden, someone who is cooking or baking. I see a beautiful conversation over dinner that you have with someone. So if you are looking for love, I see a beautiful connection that is showing up, and try not to fall into old default modes because you have been perhaps pained or disappointed by love in the past. And when it comes to your career, I feel like you are spicing it up a bit, where there may be, oh, okay, this is not going to resonate with everyone, but if in your career, someone has crossed a boundary or crossed the line. So for example, let's say someone is married, but yet they have acted out in a way that's not very professional. This could be drawing the line and advocating for yourself, but instead of reacting in an impulsive way, I feel like you're pausing, you're reflecting and saying, okay, I'm getting clear before I make a move so I don't get caught in this Eight of Swords energy. I do see that you have the ability to advocate for yourself and to set a good boundary, okay? And for others of you, if this isn't, a romantic person that is coming towards you, it could even be that there's been some fears around should you stay, should you leave, or it just feels like with this Seven of Pentacles, you're really reevaluating where you're at within your career. And because I see momentum and motivation here in February, it feels like there's going to be an invitation, an email, a call, or some sort of truth that shows up that allows you to continue moving forward with that Chariot, okay? Because that's such a strong energy here for you. So don't catastrophize or don't immediately think the worst. If someone also has said something that may trigger you, sometimes we tend to really evaluate what they've said, but ask instead of assume. And that could clear up any sort of miscommunication issues as well. So let's look at the month of April. We have this beautiful inner child coming out here, Cancer. Okay, I heard Bob Dylan. Now, maybe some of you love Bob Dylan. Maybe you went to a Bob Dylan concert, or you hear a song by Bob Dylan in the coming weeks. Maybe it's from someone's childhood or a parent who maybe loves Bob Dylan. It's coming through here, but this is the child. This is your own inner child. This also connects to the energy of children. This is laughter, fun, joy, magic, enthusiasm. This also connects to the Fool and the Sun, where there could be enlightenment or energy that's being brought to the surface, maybe even something from your childhood. It could be something from the past, but I feel like you are facing it with strength and courage. You have the strength showing up, and you see that it's represented here by the cowardly lion, who is in fact very courageous. And I see that you are stronger than you think. You are showing up here as a version of yourself that's been learning how to regulate your nervous system. Perhaps you've been focusing on somatic healing, breath work, journaling. This could be yoga, energy work, whatever it is that you are doing as perhaps a daily routine, or this could be a month where you incorporate a daily routine into your life. This is going to be very beneficial for you. Now, I see you showing up with compassion, you showing up with belief, believing in yourself, believing that not only are you a powerful queen or king, right? You have the ability to continue moving forward. It feels like this Chariot, especially because that had come through from Spirit and it's your second card out here, it feels like that's really moving you over the next 3 months, where all of these perhaps exits that show up. We're just going to use the analogy of being on the highway because the Chariot is, a moving force field. And you come to these exits, right? You're on the highway, you have it on cruise control, but then you have to slow down because you see lights, right? You see lights in the distance, or you have to adjust to weather changes, or, there's a traffic jam. It feels like you are adjusting your energy instead of becoming panicked, instead of, clenching your fist and really holding that steering wheel tight. It feels like you are aware of some of these energies that are taking place. And even if something outside of your control comes in, you have the ability to exit, right? You have the ability to keep on going and move through some of those stressful situations. And that's what I'm getting here for you. Instead of panicking and heading towards a rollover, right? You don't need to do that, where in the past, that may be where the fear has come from, because somewhere in your life, You felt like you got tumbled on, or you felt like you were in some sort of wreckage. And again, this isn't literal. I mean, some of you, maybe it was, but it feels like it's more metaphorical for a relationship or a job or health issues that may have felt like they got out of control in some way. But I see here that not only do you have this powerful Nine of Wands, he's the warrior, and he is, it feels like you're coming out of battle. That's what I would say here, because the messenger is here. And because you have the strength and you have the inner child is conditioned at times to be stuck in that survival mode. And when we're stuck in that survival mode, we face things just like this Nine of Wands. You see that he is dressed up in all of these protective layers, right? He has the shoulder guards. He has the face mask. He is like going to war. But instead of feeling like you have to prepare for the worst, in comes this message. You have the messenger here, Cancer. And this is number 22 of this deck, which actually comes after the world. And it's a bonus major arcana that the author and creator of the deck had included. It's not your typical. The messenger has to do with communications, messages that bring in truth. This could be a divine download, all right, especially with that inner child. There could be some sort of message around a child. This is about guidance and an opportunity. The messenger brings in a gift. And I see if you can enhance your communication skills or use those powerful communication skills that you've been learning over time, I see that you are not bringing all of your defenses to a situation here, and you're able to soften and you're able to receive the gift that's being offered here. And I do see that there is perhaps some sort of external invitation as well. So someone else may share with you how they feel, and that allows the both of you to put down your guard, because sometimes that Nine of Wands, because one has been wounded, the first initial response is to put up that guard. But it really feels like that strength is softening into compassion. So in the month of April, there could be a message regarding your professional world that allows you to be vulnerable, but also set some good, strong, energetic boundaries to not lean on external validation to know your worth. And the truth is that you are worthy just as you are. You are someone who has overcome a lot. I want to pull one more card here. Yes, we have the Lovers. And for some of you, this does have to do with a family dynamic. Seven of Wands, which can be boundaries. Spirit said, look at the bottom, but it can be where you may have even felt like you've gone through a bit of a block. And then when we go through blocks, we tend to revert back into those self-thoughts of I'm not good enough, or, I have to fix something within myself. And I see that the messenger is delivering, whether it's someone that you're connected to, whether it's divine downloads, this messenger is bringing you an opportunity. And I just want to clarify, Spirit, what is this opportunity here? Let's look at this opportunity. Whoa, that one shot out quickly. The Knight of Swords with the beautiful Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Okay, so Four of Wands, stability, harmony, family, home. It is feeling like you can lean into this energy and trust, right? Because when our nervous system feels safe enough to trust and to feel supported, because think of a table that has four legs, right? If one of the legs is kicked out from underneath the table, it topples. And that may have been the case in the past, right? The tumbling of the Chariot, where there is a message, a person, a divine download, some sort of communication that comes in that brings in this feeling here of safety. And it's through communication, right? Communication with this Knight of Swords. So I see here that you have some really powerful changes that are occurring for you, right? Because life is happening for us. So let's dive in and get some chakra messages. Which chakras, Cancer, are activated over the next 3 months? Which chakras are you perhaps paying more attention to? Which chakras are being healed or, activated? You have the first chakra, known as the root or the base, which is located at the base of the spine. And we have the third eye chakra, which is located here in our pineal gland. And this is intuitive perception. So the third eye chakra, the message for you is this. I know that what my intuitive senses tell me are true. I open myself to the truth that is within and around me, and I know that it is there for me to receive. I practice developing my intuition, and I know that it is a major aspect of who I am. In the stillness and silence of meditation and contemplation, I will experience and know this truth. And I feel like that's also connected to the Ace of Swords, which is the Ace of Truth. And the messenger here is your intuitive knowing. And so again, it feels like you are softening into not just staying in survival mode, but thriving, right? It's like you're moving out of surviving and starting to thrive a bit more. And I feel like that's where the Chariot is going, saying even if I hit some struggles along the way, I have, again, the tools equipped to be able to deal with anything, to be able to handle it in a way where I do feel supported. And you may even be calling in a sense of community or family or a partnership or soul tribe to help bring in that balance. Again, that's not the external validation piece that I'm talking about, but it's trusting that you have people in your corner, that you have a team, that you have this connection or bond. And I haven't even shared with you yet, at the bottom of the deck, you have rest and retreat. And rest and retreat is all about downtime. And this is my nervous system card here as well, where allowing yourself that downtime to, again, tap into your intuitive knowing is going to make all the difference in the world. And this is recovery and relax and peace. And the Chariot, even though it's a very fast moving energy, it is getting on board, emotionally and mentally, bringing those energies together to give each other a big old hug is going to bring in alignment, and that's going to progress into action. Okay. So you have the first chakra, and some of you may have dealt with some inner child healing or wounding with that inner child coming through, where you may have stuffed happiness and joy into your shadow. Because sometimes what we don't realize is we can even put good things into our shadow, where if we have been taught that we're too much, or we can't be happy because someone around us isn't happy, if we have to temper or, lower or shrink into our energy, sometimes that can go into the shadow where we feel like we don't fully deserve happiness, or our happiness isn't going to last long, right? So therefore we stick it into the shadow. And if you have dealt with something heavier at an early age, sometimes we don't always have the tools to equip ourselves with. And I feel like you do, because you have been taking accountability. You have been working through these soul lessons. This isn't easy, right? We all go through the school of hard knocks, and some of you have been knocked down more times than you can count. But the beautiful thing here, Cancer, is you have chosen to get up again, right? That Chumbawamba song, I get knocked down, right? You get up again and you keep doing that. But I see that instead of feeling like you're completely knocked down and moving into that 10 of Swords every time where you feel like you're hitting rock bottom, I feel like you get knocked to your knees and you're saying, okay, I'm not going to let myself get down to that point where I've been. And you are creating this sense of resiliency where instead of, again, resentments or bitterness or shame build up within you, you're releasing. You're releasing. And the base chakra has to do with instinct. It says here, I trust my instincts and I trust my instincts are correct. So you have two energies right away. I know what my intuitive senses are telling me and your instincts. And this can connect to the gut, right? Even though it's the root chakra, our gut instincts. And some of you may have even gone through a solar plexus shift where your gut health was affected in some way, or maybe some of you are really looking into eating better foods. I'm getting the FOD map, right? The FOD map, where there may be some gut sensitivities and you may be getting back into a space where you're trusting, right? Trusting in your body's wisdom. It says here, I trust that my instincts are correct and I let my natural intuitive feelings guide me forward. No joke, right? There's the Chariot. I trust and I let my natural intuitive feelings guide me forward. I will know what I need to do and how to respond with wisdom. And we talked about that word here with Soul Lessons. The word wisdom is literally on this card, okay? I will know what I need to do and how to respond with wisdom to situations that come my way. I have an innate desire to be of service in this life. I will know what service I am called to do. I believe in myself. Cancer, yes, you do. This is a strong energy of belief. Right? You're starting to perhaps shift that belief system here. And with the swords coming through, especially that Ace of Swords, the Knight of Swords, I see that, and that Eight of Swords. Yeah, that's powerful, where you're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. You're starting to see the progress here of maybe going to a therapist or doing the somatic healing. You're starting to see the progress of the skills that you've been learning in your career. You're starting to see the progress within a relationship, even if that means you are honoring that other person by maybe going a different path. Or if you're wanting to attract new partnerships, new friends, new companions, it feels like you are working on feeling more confident and speaking up, maybe asking for connection more, or meeting people, dipping your toes in the water, because I'm being shown here that dinner, baking, some of you are really good at cooking, or that may be something you excel in, or you're paying attention to food or nutrition. You could be cooking someone dinner, or someone in the family, maybe even a child, may have some sensitivities, and you are shifting or altering the food that everybody in the family eats. That's coming through here as well. So over the next 3 months, you again are leading forward. You are trusting your natural intuitive feelings to lead you forward. And that's why the Lovers is here. That's why the Chariot is strong. And I see that you're allowing yourself to step back from the noise and kind of reevaluate that Seven of Pentacles, kind of step back and say, okay, what's really going on here? If you're feeling triggered, I just see that you have grown so much, and I want you to pat yourself on the back, right? I want you to wrap yourself in a big hug, because you have support here. You have some beautiful truth bombs coming in, and these are going to require you to believe that, not only believe in yourself, but believe and trust that the path you are on is the path of your highest good. That is what I have for you, Cancer. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I feel like this was a bit of a deep one, but if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. And if you are interested in a personal reading or signing up for the monthly newsletter, you can find that information in the description box below the video, or by visiting intuitivesoulcoach.com.